Chapter 3707. The first is more. In the blink of an eye, the battle between Jian Wushuang and Emperor 13 has passed 5,000 years ago. In the past 5,000 years, Jian Wushuang has been enlightening the first mysterious pattern in front of the town's monument, and in the beginning, the world has been extremely calm during the past 5,000 years, and there have been few major events. The eye-catching, that is, the re-emergence of the seven-star Xuanzong, has only regained a great place in the early world of the gods. The cosmic void, the star field where the kingdom of God was in the beginning, one of the three battlefields, Red Rock Mountain. The vast Scarlet Land is like a huge scarlet mouth that devours everything. In the Redstone Mountains, no one dares to set foot on the Scarlet Earth, and can only stand by the bloodstones standing on the Scarlet Earth. As one of the three major battlefields in the universe, Red Rock Mountain is endlessly dangerous, and has many opportunities. Naturally, there are many powerful people in this field. In the heart of Redstone Mountain, two rulers landed on a bloodstone. Both of them are tall and short. Their breath is not weak, and they have reached the level of the 6 realms of void. Our luck is really good. We have been here for tens of thousands of years, and we haven't got a decent treasure. The taller man wailed. Do NT be content? Although the two of us have NT got the top-level cosmic treasures these years, we still got a few of them. Even the higher masters got 2. The harvest is no small. You want to get a higher level, more precious treasure, then you have to go deeper. Another little old man said. Deeper. The tall man shrinks his eyes and pupils, then shakes his head. This is already the core area. If you go deeper, it will be too dangerous for you and me. Just know. The little old man smiled. And just as the two talked casually, boom! The earth shook fiercely, and the whole Redstone Mountain, and the continent below it, trembled wildly at this moment. What's wrong? What happened? The tall man and the little old man both showed surprise, and looked around blankly around the void. Suddenly, there was a loud noise somewhere in front of the blood-colored earth, and then the blood-colored land exploded directly, and a large cloud of blood-colored clouds erupted directly from the blasted land like a volcanic eruption come out. The red clouds swept wildly, and the power was shaking. In a blink of an eye, the majestic red cloud had reached the bloodstone where the tall man and the little old man were. Hurry up! The tall man and the little old man were startled, and they did not hesitate to burst out at their fastest speed, and swept away into the void. And as soon as they were in shape, the vast blood-colored cloud invaded, completely covering the bloodstone where they had just been. After the coverage, the bloodstone still hasn't changed much, but from that blood-colored cloud, you can hear the creepy erosion sounds very clearly. This voice changed the look of the tall man with that little old man. But they didn't wait for the two to be glad they had escaped, and the clouds and mist swept again. At the same time on the Scarlet Earth not far away, hey! The same scene happened. It is also like a volcano erupting from the ground. A large swath of blood-colored clouds erupted from the ground, and then swept wildly around. It's not just the area where the tall man and the little old man are located. This Red Rock Mountain is already in a huge riot at this moment. Deep in the Red Rock Mountain, in every corner, the blood-colored land burst suddenly, and countless blood-colored clouds erupted from it, sweeping away and eroding everything around it. The entire Red Rock Mountain, like a huge active volcano, erupted completely. The majesty is shaking. The countless practitioners who roamed the Redstone Mountain were scared after seeing this scene. But soon they turned into surprises. Red Cloud Fog Tide. This is Red Cloud Fog Tide. So many blood-colored clouds erupted from the ground and swept the entire Red Rock Mountain. This is the legendary tide of red clouds and mist. Red Clouds and Fog Tide finally appeared again. Many of them have spent a lot of time in the battlefield of the universe. They know a lot of practitioners, and they have already understood why there is such a drastic change in Red Rock Mountain. They also understand that this dramatic change in Red Rock Mountain is exactly the legendary Red Cloud and Fog Tide. The Red Cloud and Fog Tide is quite dangerous, and it is absolutely catastrophic for practitioners who roam the Red Rock Mountain, because these blood-colored clouds erupting from the ground contain a horrible erosion ability, which is enough to easily sacrifice the Lord of the Rules with a divine power. Even if the Lord of the Rules is accidentally covered by this blood-colored cloud, it will fall. The opportunity will be considerable. Therefore, the current Red Rock Mountain, almost all the rulers, are fleeing wildly. Deep in the Red Rock Mountains, the tall man who happened to encounter the Red Cloud Fog Tide, even the tall man at the core of the Red Cloud Fog Tide, and the little old man were fleeing wildly at the moment, and the two were extremely shocked inside. Red Cloud Fog Tide. I didn't expect that the two of us even encountered the Red Cloud Fog Tide, and it was just at the center of this Red Cloud Fog Tide. This time the trouble is big. The tall man drank low. Damn! Isn't this Red Cloud Fog Tide not long before the last outbreak? Why did it erupt again in such a short period of time? The little old man cursed. Who knows, this Red Cloud Fog Tide, the eruption, for most people, is definitely extremely happy to see. I believe that many people in this star field have been informed of this news, and they are very surprised. But the Red Cloud and Mist Tide is the most central part of the Mist Tide now. For you and me, that's a disaster. We must think of a way and quickly escape from the Mist Tide, or wait for the Mist Tide to be connected in all directions, and the two of us will be dead, said the tall man. Hurry up. The two were now fleeing like crazy. I just want to find a gap in the red clouds and mists in all directions, and then escape. But if they can find that trace of space, or if it is too late, they don't know. However, as they said, although the two of them are now terrified and fleeing frantically, many powerful people in this star field have begun to get excited when they learn the news of the red clouds and fog. Shinggong. As this star field also has a certain reputation, there are also many practitioners in Shinggong who have been rushing around in Red Rock Mountain. When the drastic changes took place in the Red Rock Mountains, the Shinggong also received news. After receiving the news, the Xian Shinto people summoned many of the strongest men in the Celestial Palace as soon as possible. I saw more than 10 figures sitting in the towering palace. These more than 10 figures are among the most powerful 6 realms in the Star Palace. The Red Cloud Fog Tide appears, and the Red Cloud World will soon reappear. If you are interested in the opportunity in the Red Cloud World, you can go to Hongsher Mountain as soon as possible and enter the Red Cloud World to search for the opportunity. This place has only one requirement for you. Shinto eyes looked down. After the Red Cloud Realm, you must unite as much as possible so that you can get the maximum benefit for my planet. Yes, the head of the dozen or so rules Zheng Jianjian head soon left. After the lord of these rules has left. Hum. 4 shadows appeared around the mysterious Shinto man. These 3 people are the Sword Unparalleled, the Lord of the Sky, the Lord of Space and Time, and the Ancestor of Heaven. Among them, Jian Wushuang, Lord of the Heavens and Lord of Space and Time, are all deities now in the early divine realm. And those who appear here are just conscious incarnations. Mysterious God, you called me to wait, what's the matter? Asked the Lord of the Heavens. Jian Wushuang also looked at Xian Shinto. He was enlightened in the chaotic world of ancient times, under that town's sky monument, and was suddenly summoned by the mysterious Shinto man, telling him to be aware of it. Xian Shinto people know that he has been practicing these years. Under normal circumstances, there is no important thing. Xian Shinto people should not disturb themselves. There is something. Just 3 days ago, at the Red Rock Mountain, the red clouds were everywhere, and no accident. It was the Red Cloud Mist Tide, and it reappeared. Xian Shinto humane. Red clouds and fog tide? The Lord of the Heavens and the Lord of Time and Space were all surprised when they heard this, and then they all showed surprise. Only Jian Wushuang has a doubtful look. He hasn't practiced for a long time, and hasn't spent much time in the universe battlefield. He hasn't been to Hongsher Mountain, so he doesn't know many things. Like this so-called red cloud and mist, he didn't know what it was. The mysterious Shinto man on the side naturally saw Jian Wushuang's doubts, and couldn't help laughing. The red clouds and fog are a peculiar phenomenon unique to Hongshishan. Chapter 3709. The first is here. Since it is a disaster, why are they so surprised? Jian Wushuang did not understand. A few people of the Xianxian Shinto saw this, but looked at each other and smiled. Tianho Xiaoyu, you don't know, this red cloud and mist is indeed a disaster for Hongshishan. But under this disaster, there is also a huge opportunity hidden in it. Xian Shindao laughed. Chance. Jian Wushuang looked. Red Cloud Realm is one of the greatest opportunities in the Red Rock Mountain. Xian Shinto humane. Each time the red cloud fog tide appears, the Red Cloud Realm will reappear, and then all practitioners can enter the Red Cloud Realm and stay inside. For 10,000 years, the Red Cloud world is full of endless opportunities in Jibao. As long as you have good luck and have some strength, you can get these opportunities. Since the 3 battlefields existed in this star field, the Red Cloud Realm in Hongsher Mountain has appeared many times. Under normal circumstances, the Red Cloud fog tide will only appear once every hundreds of millions of years. The Red Cloud Realm, naturally it will only be opened once in hundreds of millions of years, but this time is not specified. Sometimes it is a long time apart, like the longest one, it is a full 800 million years apart. Every time the Red Cloud Realm is opened, countless powerful people in this star field will go crazy and enter the Red Cloud Realm. And of course, many of them will get great opportunities in it. For example, billions of years ago, there was a ruler who was obviously very strong, but luck was good. In the Red Cloud world, he got a great opportunity. After staying in the Red Cloud world for 10,000 years, he directly reached the level of domination, and with strong secret skills, the combat power can directly match the top master. There are others who have received an invaluable heritage in the Red Cloud Realm. They have also skyrocketed since then, reaching the top of this star field in just hundreds of thousands of years, and then ran to the depths of the universe. Of course, these are very rare opportunities. These opportunities, not only in the Red Cloud Realm, but in many other places on the 3 battlefields, hide such great opportunities, but those big opportunities contain big crises, and the Red Cloud Realm. It is relatively easy to encounter, and the crisis is smaller. In terms of arcana, every time the Red Cloud world reappears, there will be a large number of universe arcanas, like top-level, peak-level universe arcana, whether it is attacking the magic soldier, the arcane warframe, or the domain, repression or flight. Wait, everything is available, and there are many, even the strongest cosmic treasure. Every time the Red Cloud Realm is born, in this 10,000 years, there will definitely be the strongest universe treasure born. And there is not only one, but 10 full ones. Although most of them are attacking gods, the most precious battle is as well as other special types of the most powerful cosmic treasures, will also exist. Like Tianzu, his axe with the strongest cosmic treasure was the one he got inside when the Red Cloud Realm appeared last time. The mysterious man smiled. Haha, I was purely lucky that time, and I happened to encounter one of the strongest cosmic treasures, and it happened to be something I could use. Tianzu smiled very proudly. In terms of strength, the Celestials are relatively ordinary among those who dominate the ranks. Under normal circumstances, such a primary dominator, unless it is supported by a large force, otherwise they cannot use the strongest universe in their hands. Ancestor was lucky, and in the Red Cloud world, he got a giant axe that just fits. Hearing the conversation between the two, Jian Wushuang couldn't help getting excited. As the mysterious god said, the great opportunity contained in the Red Cloud Realm is not very attractive to Jian Wushuang. After all, those great opportunities are generally only available to those who have truly gone the Universiade. Under normal circumstances, once the Red Cloud world was born, it is good for one person to get such great opportunities. Jian Wushuang does not think he will with so much luck. But those precious treasures born in the Red Cloud Realm, in this 10,000 years, will make the sword unparalleled. A large number of top-level cosmic treasures, and even 10 strongest cosmic treasures. The strongest universe is the treasure of that level, but it is enough to make the strong ones who dominate the level furiously compete. You know, in this star field, there are many masters who do not have the strongest cosmic treasure in their hands. These masters are eager to get a strong cosmic treasure that is suitable for them, just like Tianzu. On weekdays, they are smashing among the 3 battlefields. Although there are indeed some of the strongest cosmic treasures in the 3 battlefields, it is only after a long time that they could be born. It looks like the Red Cloud Realm. As long as the Red Cloud Realm is open, in 10,000 years within time, there will be no less than 10 strongest universe treasures born. Who would miss this opportunity? It is no wonder that the powerful parties in this star field will be so eager for the Red Cloud Realm. It is no wonder that the Xian Shinto people are a few of them, and at this moment they are extremely surprised. The Red Cloud Realm is a huge gospel for both the rulers of this star field and those who are above the rule. Tianho Xiaoyu, your strength is no less than that of the High Master, but on the treasure, although you have the strongest precious sword that you got from the master of Tianpeng before, and the map of the mountains and rivers that your master left to you, Zhenshengbai, but the pictures of Shanhesh and Zhenshengbai cannot be mastered or exhibited, and the single handle is the strongest treasure sword, which is still not enough for you. Xian Shinto humane. Wu Jianso nodded slightly. He also understands that if he is placed in the star field where he is, he can have the Huangquan Excalibur, the most attacking magic soldiers, and at the same time the map of Shanhe society is in his hand. He can one day master the Sky Monument, which is definitely a very rich treasure. Yes. However, his enemies, after all, came from the distant Demon Star, the Demon Star Master. Jane Demon is the master of the second-order astral universe. He has a lot of resources, and there are definitely a lot of treasures, much richer than himself. So Jian Wushuang must be trying to find more ways to get more precious treasures. At least he must have a decent strong treasure of precious treasures, right? Chapter 37:10. Hey, the second is here. Bingxin glazed jade? Xian Shinto frowned slightly. As far as I know, the Red Cloud Realm has appeared so many times, among which countless top treasures have been born, and chances have also been gained a lot. As for things like mystic methods, it has also been obtained, but genius and divine treasure, I have not heard of anyone getting it from inside. Well, there doesn't seem to be any special genius and divine treasure in the Red Cloud Realm, but I've heard a rumor about the Red Cloud Realm. The Master of Space and Time suddenly said, Rumor. Jian Wushuang looked over. Heaven Xiaoyu, you may not know yet, in fact the Red Cloud Realm is not only one heaven and earth, but is divided into 3, just like the triple sky of our early god realm, and the strong people in this star field have always been in the Red Cloud Realm. It's just that they are in the first place, and the second and higher third places have never been set foot. So there is a rumor that if anyone has the ability to step on the second sky, he can choose one of the many treasures in the Red Cloud Realm, and there may be a genius and earthen treasure like Bingxin Liuyu. There are such rumors. Jian Wushuang stunned, but then Shin said, Is this confirmed by anyone? No. The Lord of Time and Space shook his head. Although the tide of red clouds has appeared many times, and there are countless strong men who have entered the Red Cloud world, but so far, no one seems to be able to really set foot on the second. God. What's going on? Do you not know how to get to the second day, or? Jian Wushuang asked. No, the road to the second heaven and earth has been made public long ago, right in the center of the first heaven of the Red Cloud Realm, where there is a towering giant peak that is inserted into the cloud, named Tatian Peak. On that Tiantian Peak, there are many crises and the strong still stand there. For a long time, those powerful men who entered the Red Cloud Realm will deliberately rush to the summit before the 10,000-year deadline is approaching. But for so many years, no one has been able to really walk to the top of that stepping Tianfeng. Spacetime Hall Main Road. Is that so? Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. In the long years, no one can really set foot on the top of the Tianfeng. But I think it is difficult. Tianho Xiaoyu, your cultivation time is short, and now it is only the master level of rules, but the combat power can match the higher master. If you go to the Tianfeng Peak, maybe you have the chance to reach the top? Road. Time and space, you despise me too much how easy it is. Jian Wushuang smiled. The Lord of Time and Space Palace just shrugged. Of course he also knows that it is by no means easy to really set foot on the top of that peak. Even though Jian Wushuang is enchanting enough and perverted, But the peak of the sky, after all, for so many years, no one can set foot on the top. This trip to the Red Cloud realm was of great significance to the early divine realm, so I couldn't take care of it. So this time the three of you, the Tianho Xiaoyu Cho Tian, and Time and Space, personally took a trip. And I will continue to collect information in the Star Palace and do emergency support. Can you have any opinions? Xian Shinto people looked around the humane. Wu Jianso looked at each other and nodded. They are now present with 5 major dominating powers, of which Jian Wushuang is the absolute core. Now the entire Taichu divine realm, and the entire Xingong, can be said to be serving Jian Wushuang. Only Jian Wushuang's strength has grown up as soon as possible. Only then has the capital to compete against the Demon Star. So Jian Wushuang will definitely go to the Red Cloud realm himself, only to cut the Sky Alliance. The strength is no less than Jian Wushuang, but also a high-level dominating combat power. With his strength in the Red Cloud realm, the odds of getting the highest treasure will also be higher. At the same time, the Lord of Time and Space, using the rules of time and space, was extraordinary. When he entered the Red Cloud realm, he could help with Jian Shuang's sword or the Alliance leader. The three of them are indeed the best choice to go to the Red Cloud realm. As for the Xian Shinto and Tianzu, just stay. Since everyone agrees, go ahead and get ready, and come to the Star Palace to meet as soon as possible. Xian Shinto humane. Okay. Wu Jianwushuang nodded his head, his figure flickered, his avatar of consciousness had disappeared. Eternal Chaos World, under the ancient battlefield, before the town monument. Wu Jianshuang's eyes have opened. Red Cloud Realm. Jian Wushuang murmured, and his eyes narrowed slightly. This Red Cloud Realm, for me, did try to get a chance once and get the best chance of the treasure. If I miss this opportunity, I will be afraid if I don't know where to find the right treasure. In 10,000 years, no less than 10 of the strongest cosmic treasures were born. No matter what, I have to find a way to get one or two. At least I have to get one of the strongest treasures. Jian Wushuo held both hands, then stood up, but his gaze was looking at the Jintian monument ahead. The huge monumental town monument is still standing here in peace. In these 5,000 years, Jian Wushuang has been enlightened in front of the town's monument. Even though 5,000 years have passed, Jian Wushuang has only realized the first secret pattern in Jintian monument, and realized 20 to 30%. 20 to 30%, it's a long way from a complete mastery. Obviously, he still has a long way to go to truly master the Jintian monument. However, even if only to realize the secret pattern of 2 or 3%, Ku Jian Wushuang's 5,000 advances, it is still very huge. You know, at the beginning, after only 30 years of enlightenment under the Sky Monument in this town, his understanding of the origin of the Kendo universe has improved a lot, and he has even grasped the breadth of the laws of the universe, thus defeating Emperor 13 by relying on sword art. This progress has been made in 30 years. Now he has realized for 5,000 years. For the past 5,000 years, although his progress was not as fast as in the beginning, it was scary enough. Not to mention, just in Kendo, he now has a much stronger understanding of the origin of Kendo universe than before. If he was in the origin of Kendo universe, he just realized a little bit. But now he can at least be considered a threshold of entry. Now he is a sword that he casts at will, and the origin of Kendo universe contained in sword art is much stronger than before. And the power is naturally much stronger than before. His sword skills are stronger than before. Now if he fights with Emperor 13 again, even if he does not rely on the breadth of the laws of the universe, he can rely on his own understanding of the origin of the Kendo universe. Emperor 13 was completely unable to resist. Taking a deep breath, Jian Wushuang left for the Xingong. Soon, Jian Wushuang once again set foot in the void of the universe, came to the Star Palace, and merged with the Lord of the Sky and the Lord of Time and Space. Let's go. After the three met, there was no ink left, and they headed directly to Hongsher Mountain. Red Rock Mountain, one of the 3 cosmic battlefields in this star field. However, due to the advent of red clouds and fog, this Red Rock Mountain has now become the absolute focus of this star field. Even now, when it was originally wandering in the other two battlefields, most of them have now rushed towards this red rock mountain. When the sword unparalleled, the Lord of the Sky, and the Lord of Time and Space came to the surrounding area of Red Stone Mountain, the vast red stone mountain in front of him was covered by the monstrous red cloud. The red cloud soared to the sky, and the power was shaking. It's been so long, this red cloud and fog tide hasn't even dissipated, and the range is really wide. It erupted from the core of Hongsher Mountain, and it turned out to cover the entire red stone mountain. Jian Wushuang revealed his surprise. Normally, the red cloud and fog tide usually appears for a year, or even a few years, and it is now more than a month before the red cloud and fog tide has erupted. It is too early, we can only wait here and wait. This red cloud and mist tide has completely receded before being able to enter it. Sword warriors were slightly aware. According to Xian Shinto, this tide of red clouds and fog is extremely horrible, and a huge disaster for the entire Red Rock Mountain. Although he now possesses high-level dominating combat power, and has cultivated the supreme immortal mystery, the body is extremely powerful, but he still dare not break into the red cloud and fog tide directly. After all, the red cloud and fog tide is boundless and erosion ability is strong. It is terrible. Once a person is caught in it, it is likely to be eroded to death by the red cloud and mist, and the master is no exception. I have ordered to go down the rulers of Her Majesty's stars who are eager to enter the red cloud realm, and the strong men of the three freedom alliances of the early divine realm will come here as soon as possible to meet with us, and then wait for the red cloud mist dispersed. They will enter the red cloud realm together. Sword Wushuang nodded. This time the red cloud realm was born. This star field was shaken, and countless strong people were eager to enter it. The strong players of the Star Palace, and the three major free alliances are naturally no exception. But the master of these powerful rules, www. Most of them are in the three battlefields, and they are scattered. This time the birth of the Red Cloud realm. The strong men in the other two battlefields have already rushed over, and the strong men who had originally roamed in the Red Rock Mountains have long retreated. Wait. Jian Wushuang said something, and then waited quietly here. As time passed, more and more powerful men rushed to the surrounding area of Red Rock Mountain. Behind the three of them, like Jian Wushuang, there are more and more Star Palace powerhouses gathered. 1 year after the red cloud and fog tide broke out, they gathered behind Jian Wushuang, and the three from the rules of Xingong, and the three major free alliances. Lord, there are already more than 70, and all of them are lords of the void and 5 realms. After all, although the red cloud realm is full of opportunities, but because there are many strong players entering it, the battle is extremely powerful, and the strength is relatively weak. The master of the rules below the 5 realms enters it, which is basically to die, so dare to enter the red cloud realm. Most of them are above the void realm. Generally, they are the zenith of void realm, and many reach void realm. Well, your news is out of date. Some time ago, a friend of mine came to visit me. He is a lone strong man from the early gods. He told me that a great change happened in the early gods. The 3 sacred realms of the original overlord have been completely destroyed, and now the world is said to have been an iron bucket. The leaders of the divine realm in the early days are not only the Lord of the Heavens, the Lord of Space and Time, and the ancestors, but also a strong man named Jian Tianhou. 3 sanctuaries have been destroyed. No wonder. The Holy Island seems to have been destroyed by the Star Palace. Jian Tianhou? Who is that Jian Tianhou? Is he also the master? Many powerful secretly communicated, and the red-haired old man who knew a little bit about the situation of the gods in the early days laughed. You may not know the name of Jian Tianhou, but the master of the famous blood sword. You must know? The Lord of the Blood Sword? Many of the strong men present were stunned, and all eyes subconsciously looked at Jian Wushuang, who was standing between the Lord of Time and Space and the Lord of the Heavens, and immediately agitated his throat. Indeed, Jian Tianhou did not know them, but the Lord of the Blood Swords, they are like thunder. It was the one who had once defeated the 5 greatest realms of the 6 strongest with his own strength. In this star field, He was called the strongest person in the Lord of Rules. That sword is the Lord of the Blood Sword. I heard that he now has the power to dominate. The red-haired old man laughed. Domination level? Everyone was taken aback. How is that possible? He has the power to dominate it. Looking at the breath, he is clearly just a ruler. He has not reached the master. It's hard to say that he has had big encounters before. And when he defeated the extreme of the 5 major and 6 realms, his strength is infinitely close to the master. Now it has passed nearly 10,000 years. Maybe there is a breakthrough, and he really has the master. How strong is it? Everyone was talking, but there is no doubt that they are full of awe, both to Jian Wushuang, and to the Lord of the Heavens, and the Lord of Time and Space. The power of the dominating class. The ruler of these rules must be unforgettable, and sword unparalleled. Whether or not he really possesses the dominance level of combat power, he alone has already defeated the 5 greatest realms of the 6 realms, which is considered to be the strongest among the masters of this astral rule, which is enough for the master of these rules. They shuddered. When the red clouds and mists dissipate, after they enter the red cloud realm, if these people encounter Jian Wushuang, they will certainly hide away. At this time, there was a void in the surroundings. The space shook slightly, and the white-robed figure slowly stepped out. As soon as this man appeared, a breath of Xian swept away. Chapter 37:13. The first is more. Dominated by Wu Qing. Dominated by Wu Qing. The rulers at this entrance were shocked to see the figure of the white robe. Dominated by Wu Qing. He has a good reputation among the 3 battlefields. After Wu Qing's master came to the entrance, he immediately noticed the existence of the Star Palace and the 3 major free alliances. And at the same time he noticed the smile of Jian Wushuang. That look made Wu Qing dominate his heart tremble. But immediately he lowered his body and gave a slight gift in the direction of Jian Wushuang across the void. It's pretty fun. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. This Wu Qing master. It seems that after the last time, you have been afraid of Xiaoho Xiaoyu. The master of time and space also laughed. Wu Qing dominates. Everyone else thinks he is just a solitary master. But only Jian Wushuang knows that this Wu Qing master is actually only a clone of the Holy Lord of the place. At the time, Jian Wushuang directly entered the Earth Star for the Bingxin glazed jade. And the Star of the Land Star bowed down honestly, and finally revealed his own secrets and discs. That secret is this Wu Qing master. Jian Wushuang knew the true identity of the Wu Qing master, but the rule masters at the entrance did not know, let alone the thing between Wu Qing master and Jian Wushuang. So when they saw the move of Wu Qing's master, they were astonished by the rulers. This Wu Qing master, what are you doing? He is saluting. Is he saluting to the Lord of the Heavens, or to the Lord of Time and Space? It should be the Lord of the Cut Heaven Alliance. I heard that the Lord of the Cut Heaven Alliance is a higher master, and the strength should be stronger than the master of Wu Qing. Although the masters of these rules said so, there was still a hint of doubt in their hearts. Because under normal circumstances, even if the leader of the Confederate Alliance is a higher master, the strength is stronger than the master of Wu Qing. The master of Wu Qing does not need to salute directly, at least a little polite 3 points. But Wu Qing's move to dominate now is obviously with a trace of awe. Anyway, he is also a real master. Is it necessary to fear such a high master? The masters of these rules do not know. Lord Wu Qing is not afraid of beating the Lord of the Sky, and even less afraid of the Lord of Time and Space. What he really fears is the sword unparalleled. It's just that Jian Wushuang is still the master of the rules, and hasn't shown any real combat power to the outside world. So people around don't know this. Time continues to flow. 3 months passed in a flash. In the vast red rock mountain ahead, the ruby that filled the sky suddenly burst out, followed by a large expanse of red clouds, and began to shrink toward the depths of the red rock mountain. This scene brightened the eyes of many powerful men at the entrance. The red clouds and mists are about to disappear, finally disappearing. As soon as the red cloud fog tide disappears, we can enter the red cloud world, and I can't wait any longer. Many powerful people are looking forward to it. Jian Wushuang, Lord of the Heavens, Lord of Space and Time, and others also gazed at the changes in the red rock mountain. When they saw that the red cloud began to shrink, and they had narrowed out of their sight in the blink of an eye, they set off directly. Go! The leader of the beast of the sky is the first. Jian Wushuang, the lord of time and space, the star palace, and the rulers of the three major free alliances followed behind. And a large group of people swept directly towards Hongshe Mountain. Not only them, but the more than 1,500 rulers gathered at the entrance, like a wasp, swarmed towards Red Rock Mountain. Red Rock Mountain is completely lively. Fortunately, although they are scattered, there is no restriction on the communication in this red cloud world. Jian Wushuang flipped his hands and took out the communication order. Cut the sky, time and space. Sword Warrior summoned the Lord of the Heavens and the Lord of Time and Space for the first time. Chapter 37:14. Hey, the second is here. Do two people know where they are? Jian Wushuang asked. I should be on the fourth continent. I am on the sixth continent. Jian Tianho, how about you? Asked the leader of the Celestial Alliance. The place I was teleported to was just a wasteland, and there was nothing recognizable within 100,000 miles. So I don't know which continent I am in for the time being. Jian Wushuangdo. Hangyanji is the first heaven with 7 continents. Except for the 7th continent, which is in the most central position, the other 6 continents are scattered around and next to each other. Before entering the Red Cloud Realm, Jian Wushuang obtained a pair of star maps of the 7 continents in the Red Cloud Realm. The star map has many marked places on each continent. These places include mountains, bloodstone piles, and some wasteland, buildings, and even some battlefields. These things are very recognizable. But now in the wasteland where Jian Wushuang is located, there are no such iconic things within 100,000 miles. Tianho Xiaoyu. Find out which continent you are in as soon as possible. Jian Wushuang nodded. Suddenly, a breath of breath came from the void not far away, and there was a little vibration in the world. This is it. Jian Wushuang could not help but move. What's wrong? It seems that I have good luck. As soon as I arrived in the Red Cloud Realm, I encountered the birth of Supreme, and looking at the atmosphere of that treasure, the level is not low. Jian Wushuang smiled. That being the case, then you have to fight for it, and get as many treasures as possible. Of course. Jian Wushuang smiled, and there was a flash of excitement in his eyes. Look at the breath. The place where the treasure was born is about 500,000 miles away from me. At 500,000 miles, at my speed, it will be here in a few moments. Even if that sends out the fastest speed, rush towards the place where the treasure was born. Sun quickly arrived at the place where the treasure was born. I saw a dark golden stick suspended in the void, and the surrounding was surrounded by a layer of dark golden light. The exquisite scent emanated from this stick. Top Universe Arcana? Jian Wushuang could not help but smile. When he came to this void, the dark golden baguette was born completely. For a while. Grab the treasure. It's mine. It is closer to the birthplace of this treasure, and came to this void earlier than Jian Wushuang. There are 17 rulers in total, including 7 peaks of the Void Realm, and 10 rulers of the Void Realm. As many as there is a strong person who reached the peak of the 6 realms. After the dark golden stick was completely born, the 17 rulers burst out at the same time. The scramble began instantly. Boom, 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 boom. He heard only a loud roar. At this moment, the masters of these rules have burst out their strongest strength, and they also rushed directly to fight with the magic soldiers, and some used the treasures in the surrounding area, or some mysterious methods to help their strong ones compete. And Zhan Shu was quietly approaching the stick. I can reach the level of the 5 realms of the void, or the 6 realms of the void. The masters of these rules are not weak, and the means are not extraordinary. At this moment, for the supremacy of the treasure, it is the best display of its own strength means. However, among the 17 rulers present, the most dazzling is the peak of the 6 realms. He is the strongest, and he is also very good in body protection. He directly relies on his arrogant strength and body protection ability. At the forefront, He easily repelled the two six-state superiors who were competing with him beside him. In the blink of an eye, he had already come to the dark gold stick, less than 100 meters away from the dark gold stick. Haha, this top universe treasure is mine. The savage man like a wild man laughed. Suddenly, a ghostly figure did not know when it actually appeared in the void in front of it, just beside the dark golden stick. As soon as this figure appeared, he waved his hand directly and included the dark golden baguette into the ring of Qianquan. This scene made the savage rough man's face suddenly blink. Dare to grab my treasure and find death. This savage, rough man was burning with rage in his eyes. He didn't take a closer look at the other person, only saw that the other person took the dark golden stick into the ring, and then immediately shot. A big axe waved like lightning. Out, the axe was surrounded by layers of flames, burning the void frantically, and appeared in front of the other person in a blink of an eye. Wu Jian's eyes were cold. Ha! A sword in tension gathered in front of him instantly. This sword seems to be faint, but it can be plucked out and hit your big axe. But it is instantly knocked out of the big axe, and the sword is unabated, and from the wild man's neck passing by. The savage man with his eyes widened. He didn't really see the other person's appearance until he was dying. At the same time, he also understands why he is the most powerful of the 6 realms, and has no chance to struggle, and is instantly killed by the other party. Is it him? The savage rude man was full of unwillingness and fear, but his voice was completely cut off. In the midst of the surrounding void, the other 16 masters who wanted to compete for the dark golden baguette saw this scene, and their faces changed dramatically. They didn't recognize Jian Wushuang at the beginning, but after the savage rude man died, they recognized it immediately. It's Jiantianhe, master of the blood sword. Go hurry up! The 16 rulers present. No one had any hesitation. They no longer had a little greed for that dark golden baguette, and immediately turned their bodies and minds and left here at the fastest speed. No one dares to stop at half a step, let alone fight. Jokingly, where is the strongest bloodsword lord of the star rulers' recognized rule? Where else can they compete? Even if all of them joined forces, the lord of the blood sword was afraid to slaughter them easily. But in a blink of an eye, the rulers of the surroundings walked away cleanly, and this battle naturally ended. A top universe treasure so easy you got it? Jian Wushuang was standing there with both hands in charge, with a weird smile on the corner of his mouth. He didn't know that there were too many universe treasures in this red cloud world. If you are in the 3 battlefields, even at the deepest, it usually takes the school time to meet a higher level arcana born, but in the red cloud realm. Chapter 37:15. The first is here. As soon as I arrived in the red cloud realm, I got a top universe treasure, and it was extremely easy, which made Jian Wushuang look forward to this red cloud realm. With the successive birth of one piece of treasure, this feast in the red cloud realm has really begun. In a flash, 20 years have passed. Zhan Tian, congratulations, you have got a high treasure armor. Jian Wushuang and the Zhetian Alliance Lord, the Space and Time Lord rumors and exchanges with each other. Haha, I'm also lucky. The place where the Arcana Warframe was born this time is less than 300,000 miles away, and one of my masters is around, and I easily got it. Your luck has been good for a full 20 years. Over the past 2 decades, I and Tianhe Xiaoyu combined to get the treasure. I'm afraid there aren't as many as you. The Master of Space and Time said the same. Where, although I have received many treasures in these 20 years, there are 8 of them, but they are all low and high. Most of them are top treasures, only one. What else do you want? In the past 20 years, I haven't gotten one of the top treasures. Even the higher one has only got 2, plus a family of elementary treasures. Better than me. At least I got a top treasure. Okay. Jian Wushuang just smiled. There are so many treasures in the red cloud realm. More scary. In this short period of 20 years, there are countless treasures born in the red cloud realm. Naturally, these treasures have also been obtained by the surrounding practitioners. As for how much you get, it depends on your strength and luck. Among them, luck is very important. Like the sword unparalleled, in the past 20 years, He also got a top universe treasure at first. Then he successively got a sword high universe treasure and 2 elementary treasures. In the short period of 20 years, the Heavenly Alliance's main luck has gained 8 pieces of the universe, including the top one. Don't worry, the Red Cloud Realm will open for a full 10,000 years. In this 10,000-year period, although there will be more precious treasures born at the beginning, there will be more precious treasures born in the future. Based on our 3 strengths, if after 10,000 years of running, I am afraid that there will be no small gains. This is also true. It's been 10,000 years, and it's only 20 years now. It's too early. The Master of Space and Time laughed. And in the past 20 years, there is not one strongest universe in the Red Cloud Realm. It seems that even the highest peak treasure was born with 2 treasures. The 3 of them rushed around in the Red Cloud Realm, while the Xian Shinto people sat in the Shingong Palace and had been gathering information for them. In these 20 years, about how many arcanas have been born in the Red Cloud Realm, and how many top arcanas and peak arcanas have been born, Xian Shinto will immediately inform them of the news. That's why they know that in the past 20 years, only 2 peaks of Red Cloud Realm have been born. Earth treasures born in the Red Cloud Realm have always been low in the beginning, but there are many. But later, the number of birth treasures will be greatly reduced, but the quality will be improved. In the future, the treasures often born, at least they are all above the high level, and rarely will there be elementary to the treasure. Whether it's the first or the highest one, as long as we are in front of us, or if we have a chance to get it, then do and let it go. Although these 3 are not useful to the 3 of us, they are the masters of those rules. In terms of use, it's very useful. In addition, if the number of treasures we get is really large, we can also take these treasures to Jyoti Pavilion, and we can also exchange some high-level treasures. 9 Emperor Pavilion? Jian Wushuang looked but moved. What is this 9 Emperor Pavilion? Don't you know? The Lord of the Cut Heavens was surprised. Sword Wushuang shook his head. Haha. Tianho Xiaoyu has not been in the universe battlefield for a long time. In addition, there is rarely a chance to contact Jade Pavilion on weekdays, so I did not tell him to Xian God. That's it. The leader of the Celestial Alliance became clear, followed by Su. Jyoti Pavilion is an extremely ancient and powerful force. It is said that the nest of Jyoti Pavilion is the deepest in the universe, and it is also a hegemon of a party. Power is spread all over the corner of the universe. The star field like ours is actually only in the corner of the universe, but even so, there is still a Jyoti Pavilion in this star field. The 9 imperial courts do not fight for hegemony, do not participate in the struggle of all parties in our star domain, and are not even interested in the 3 great battlefields of our star domain, the endless opportunities there. They only do business. The leader laughed. Do business? Jian Wushuang stunned. Yes, Jyoti Pavilion is in fact plain. It is equivalent to a large trading place. If you have a powerful treasure or special treasure in your hands, if you do and need it, you can put it in Jyoti Pavilion and entrust it. Sell or exchange for you. Similarly, you can go to the Jyoti Pavilion and use your own things to exchange for the treasures in the Jyoti Pavilion. Like if we have enough treasures in the Red Cloud Realm this time, we can also go to Jyoti Pavilion and use these treasures in exchange for higher-level treasures, such as dozens of top treasures. You can in exchange for a pinnacle of treasure. Is that so? Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and asked him, is there any treasure in the 9 Emperor Pavilion? Well, it's not. The leader of Zhetian League shook his head. If it is the Jade Pavilion in the deepest part of the universe, there must be everything, but the Jade Pavilion in our star field is not guaranteed. However, it is certain that there is the strongest treasure in the 9 Emperors Pavilion, and there are not only 1 or 2, but there are many, and only if you can pay a large enough price, you can go inside for the strongest universe treasure. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed. Tianho Xiaoyu, you actually want to ask, is there ice-glazed jade in the pavilion of the 9 emperors? Suddenly the Lord of Time and Space asked. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. He just knew about the existence of the Jyoti Pavilion, and according to the Confederate Lord of Heaven, since the Jyoti Pavilion is so good, There may be Bingxing glazed jade inside. Tianho Xiaoyu, I can tell you that this Bingxing glass jade does not exist in the Jade Emperor's pavilion. The master of the Spacetime Palace said positively. Because I knew before that you needed the Bingxing glass jade. Xianshan asked someone to go to the Jade Emperor's pavilion. Asked. Remember the first domain name in this book. The top-level treasure is born longer than the average high-end, top-level treasure. It is 16 million miles away, and it takes me a while to reach it at my speed. I hope I can make it. Jian Wushuang did not hesitate, and immediately set off. The Lord of the Heavens and the Lord of Time and Space also knew that Jian Wushuang was rushing to the place where the supreme treasure was born, and they all whispered, Heavenly friend, good luck. At a distance of 16 million miles, if the teleportation or time and space can be performed, the sword is unparalleled. Unfortunately, in the Red Cloud realm, a method similar to teleportation cannot be used at all. Jian Wushuang can only move at his own speed, and it took some time to get there. When the sword unparalleled arrived, the Pinnacle Arcana Warframe had been completely born, and the competition had already begun. The Pinnacle Arcana Warframe had now fallen into the hands of a ruler named Sihong. The Merciful Lord is a superpower who is the ultimate in the 6 realms of void. However, although the peak jewel armor has fallen into his hands, many powerful men around him have no intention of letting go of the merciful master. For the ruler, the top universe is enough for them to compete madly, and the pinnacle of the universe is the highest. Just attack the magic soldier, a pinnacle of the highest treasure. Even the dominant power will be extremely envious, not to mention the ruler. Because of this, I know that the merciful Lord is not easy to mess with, but the rulers around them are still madly rushing up and want to kill the merciful Lord. The master of Sihong, although strong, did not escape very well. Facing the siege of a large number of powerful men around him, he could not break out immediately, which gave Jian Wushuang the opportunity to participate in the competition. When Jian Wushuang appeared on this battlefield, the ruler of these rules completely slaughtered together, and the merciful master had long been jealous. In a short siege he used his mighty strength to slay the 3 rule masters. But his own divine power was also consumed a lot. Stop it! Jian Wushuang spoke indifferently, and his figure also appeared directly in the center of the battlefield. At the same time, a horrible divine power directly covered and oppressed the audience. This mighty power, although Jian Wushuang did not do his best, but still exceeded the rule of the rule of the rule. Suddenly the master of many rules on the field was a shock in their hearts. Their body and their movements stopped. Came down. The Lord of Mercy, hand over that peak arcana warframe. I won't embarrass you. Jian Wushuang was carrying his hands, and stared calmly at the merciful Lord in front of him. Remember the first domain name in this book. Jiotian God Emperor Mobile Version Reading URL. Chapter 37:17. The first is here. Blood Lord of the Blood Sword. The merciful Lord looked at Jian Wushuang who appeared in front of him, and his face was immediately ugly. In terms of strength, he is indeed very strong. Even among the most powerful of the rulers, he is barely qualified to be in the top 10. It can be said that with such strength among the rule masters, he can almost walk sideways. However, there are still 2 people in the Lord of the Rules, which is enough to scare him. These 2 people, one is the Blood Tooty, the other is the Lord of the Blood Sword in front of him. Among them Blood Tooty, which was known for a long time ago, has been acquiesced by many people as the strongest of the rulers of this star domain, and his strength is very close to dominating. As for Jian Wushuang, although his rise was not as long as that of Blood Tooty, his record was even more scary than that of Blood Tooty. That was the one who defeated 5 of the 6 realm extremes, and killed one of them. In the first battle, he directly replaced the Blood Slayer, and was directly the strongest of the masters of this star domain rule. These 2 people are far superior to him, in terms of strength. If it is normal, if he meets the Lord of the Blood Sword, he will definitely choose to retreat without hesitation. But now he can't retreat at all. If you do not surrender the piece of peak treasure you got before, the Lord of the Blood Sword, and the rulers of the surroundings will never let him go. But the pinnacle of treasure, he was reluctant to give up. Joke. Even the top-level treasures that even the dominant powers will frantically compete for. How could he just give up as simple as that? Even if you are the Lord of the Blood Sword, even if you are more powerful than me, the treasure battle gear has fallen into my hands. If you want, then you have to see if you have this ability. The merciful Lord issued a roar. He rolled up the waves. He didn't choose to slam the sword invincible, but rushed to the side of the void for the first time. But right at the moment he left, a faint sword light caught up directly and sank into his body. The main body of Ci Hong was shocked, and a look of terror appeared in her eyes. His divine power was instantly annihilated by more than 90%, and his breath became extremely weak. The Lord of Mercy, hand over that precious treasure armor, otherwise I won't keep my hand next time. Jian Wushuang's indifferent voice sounded again. The merciful Lord turned his head extremely stiffly. He looked at Jian Wushuang, and his eyes were full of unwillingness and incredibleness. Unwilling, naturally is unwilling to reach the pinnacle of the treasure, so hand it over in vain. It's unbelievable because of the strength revealed by Jian Wushuang. Too strong. Only a slight end of Jingguang entered his body, and instantly wiped out his 90% divine power, which is still the case where Swordsman has reserved his hand. If he didn't keep his hand, he just killed the little wisps of sword light just now. How is that possible? How could the strength of the blood sword master be so strong? The Lord of the Red Sword was completely frightened by the strength of the sword unparalleled. Although Jian Wushuang now has the dominance of the master, and even the higher master, few people outside know it. Most people's understanding of the sword unparalleled still stays at the time, when he alone defeated the 5-6 realm extremes in the Magic Smoke Valley. At that time, Jian Wushuang was the invincible combat power of the ruler. Although this kind of combat power, the Lord of the Red, knows that the enemy cannot be defeated, but can confidently entangle himself for a while, and even have a chance to escape from the swordless hands. But I did not think that Jian Wushuang's real strength was much stronger than that time. Master, the Lord of the Blood Sword, definitely has the mastery level of combat power. He is enough to kill me with his hands raised. Why, are you still not willing to hand it over? Jian Wushuang frowned. He has already given the host of the benevolent host. If the latter does not know each other again, it is really no wonder that he is. The Lord of the Blood Sword, you won. The Lord of Mercy Red smiled bitterly. In the face of absolute strength, he has nothing to insist on. And if he persists, it is pure death. Breathing lightly, the Lord of Mercy was ready to take out the peak and treasure armor and hand it to Jian Wushuang. The rulers of the surroundings just looked at this scene, but no one came forward to stop it. Although they were full of longing for the peak and treasure armor, no one dared to things from the sword without hands. But just then, a figure suddenly appeared in the void next to it. As soon as this person appeared, a breath of Xian, far above the Lord of many rules present, had already spread. Perceiving this breath, many of the strong men present were shocked. Dominate! A master is here. When even there was a look at that figure, the action of the merciful Lord also stopped, and his gaze looked over there. I saw a middle-aged man wearing a white robe, hovering there calmly, looking at the scene in front of the void, and frowning slightly. Master of Wu Qing, dominated by Wu Qing, the Lord of the surrounding rules, has been recognized in the future. It turned out that Wu Qing was the master, and he was also in the third continent. Jian Wushuang's mouth evoked a playful smile. The Wu Qing master had met him at the entrance of Hongyanji before. At that time, the Wu Qing master still had a trace of awe to him. Later, after entering the Red Cloud realm, everyone was scattered, and the Wu Qing master came to the third continent just like Jian Wushuang, and now the two still met. Jian Wushuang did not care about the arrival of Wu Qing's dominance, but the rulers around him became strange at this moment. For the masters of these rules, when Jian Wushuang appeared in this void, it meant that the peak and treasure armor had nothing to do with them, especially the Jian Wushuang showing its horrible power, which made Ci Hong instantly. The main damage of the master is to make the masters of the surrounding rules have no heart to fight. Even the merciful Lord himself planned to surrender that peak to the treasure armor, to sword unparalleled. But at this time, there was a strong man who dominated the scene, which was a bit interesting. You have to know that the pinnacle of the treasure is still in the hands of the merciful Lord. The benevolent Lord was also at a loss at this moment, a little at a loss. He took the pinnacle treasure battle gear, looked at Jian Wushuang, and looked at the master Wu Qing next to him. For a moment, he didn't know who to give the pinnacle treasure warframe to. Give it to Jian Wushuang. What will happen to the next master? Chapter 37:18. Second more. The Lord of Mercy is really at a loss now, and it's not clear to whom to send the pinnacle treasure armor. At this time, Jian Wushuang spoke first. Master of Wu Qing, can you come here now to rob me of this pinnacle of treasure? Peak warrior peak. Wu Qing's dominated pupil shrank secretly, but immediately opened up. He chuckled. The Lord of the Blood Sword misunderstood. I only noticed the movement of this void before deliberately coming over, since the Lord of the Blood Swords arrived here first, and that peak and treasure armor will soon fall into your hands. The Lord of the Blood Swords. I naturally have nothing to fight for. After all, everything has to come first. Oh. Jian Wushuang frowned. The rulers around them looked even stranger. In this red cloud world, the competition for the treasure is also about first come first come? Just kidding. Since the contention has already come to fruition, I will leave first. The master of Wu Qing ignored the doubts of the surrounding people and turned and left. Soon, the master of Wu Qing disappeared in front of everyone. This scene is even more shocking to those rulers present. Why, Wu Qing dominated and just left like this? I didn't even have the idea of scrambling, so I just left. When this Wu Qing master, when did he become so good at speaking? Is it the Star Palace behind the master of Wu Qing who avoids the blood sword? It is not right. Although the Star Palace is also a big force, it is not as strong as no one dares to provoke, like the Beihai Palace. Don't worry about the Star Palace. Still, the master of Wu Qing knows that the master of the blood sword is good, and he can't help each other, so he can only leave. But the peak and treasure armor is not yet in the hands of the master of the blood sword. Those rulers around clearly did not understand the actions of Wu Qing's master. They also don't understand why the Wu Qing master left without thinking of fighting. You know, that is a pinnacle of the top treasure, but it is enough to make many dominate the eyes and furiously fight for it. And the only one on the field who was not too surprised by the departure of Wu Qing was Jian Wushuang himself. Oh, it's pretty familiar. Jian Wushuang smiled secretly. He knew why the host of Wu Qing was leaving. Apparently, because the latter was unwilling to compete with himself for a pinnacle of treasure. A mere piece of the highest arcana warframe, and not the strongest arcana. I cannot afford to provoke the Lord of the Blood Sword for such a treasure otherwise. Whether we can compete for it, the key is to use the blood sword. If the Lord offends me, not only will my secret be revealed, but the Lord of the Blood Sword can be combined with the Lord of the Sect to kill me, even my deity. Once they're spotted, I can't escape. Wu Qing's idea is clear. If it is one of the strongest treasures that he needs, or the strongest treasure that really makes him feel good, then he is likely to truly fight with the sword. Otherwise he would never dare to provoke Jian Wushuang. As soon as Wu Qing dominated, there was no suspense for this contention. The ruthless lord honestly handed that pinnacle treasure armor to Jian Wushuang. And after searching, he found that this piece of treasure warrior was indeed the pinnacle treasure level. But on the rank, talk to himself, the blood demon cave Tianjia is still worse than that. He would definitely not use this treasure. But in the future, he can go to Jodi Pavilion to exchange for other treasures. But it is still possible. In 20 years, I can get a peak battle treasure, which is already a great gain. Next, the scramble for the treasures in the Red Cloud realm continues. A flash 50 years later. In these 50 years, the peak of the Red Cloud realm has reached 12. Most of them are attacking the arcana. Only one of the peak arcana armor is obtained by the sword. The pinnacle of the more precious soul attack was obtained by a master. The vast earth a blood red. A faint knife sounded. In the void ahead, a purple sword was hovering quietly there. and a breath of higher universe treasure spread from the purple sword. At the moment when the purple sword was completely born, there were more than a dozen rulers around him, who had been rushing up in an instant. Suddenly, a vast force of time and space swept away like ripples. All rulers who rushed toward the purple sword were at this moment greatly restricted by the power of time and space, and their body speed was greatly weakened. Immediately under the gaze of everyone, a ghostly figure appeared beside the purple sword, and the purple sword was put into the ring of heaven with a wave of a hand. Seeing that the purple sword had been taken away by the other party, the 10 or so rulers were all frustrated after a brief anger, because they had seen the man who had taken the purple sword. It is the Lord of the Blood Sword, and the Lord of Starfield rules, is considered to be the strongest existence. The purple sword fell into the hands of the Lord of the Blood Sword, and they had no chance to fight again. Suddenly, more than a dozen rulers began to disperse. Jian Wushuang himself planned to leave, but at this time a figure came to him. Huh? Jian Wushuang looked at the person who appeared in front of him. Tianqian, I've seen the Lord of the Blood Sword. The Comer said with a trace of respect. Tianqian God, are you okay? Jian Wushuang asked casually. Jian Wushuang also knows about the God of Heaven Mark, and he is a strong 6th-realm extreme. This strength alone is definitely not qualified to compete with himself for the supreme treasure. Yes, I have a friend who really wants to see you with the Lord of the Blood Sword. So if I want to see you, let me find a way to ask you to wait for a while here. God of God Mark. Oh, someone wants to see me? Jian Wushuang looked strange. Who is your good friend? Well, when he arrives, you will know the Lord of the Blood Sword. Tianqian God laughed. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. Okay, then I will stay here for a while, but I only wait half an hour. After half an hour, if your friend is not there, then I will go. Don't worry. My friend heard that you came to this continent 10 years ago, after you were on the 3rd continent. Now it's not too far away from us. In half an hour, he arrived at most. Tianqian God said. Then oh wait. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. He doesn't know who the friend Tian said is, but he has absolute strength as capital, and he doesn't worry that the Tianqian will calculate him. Remember the first domain name in this book. Jiutian God Emperor Mobile Version Reading URL. Dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 37:19. The first is here. As the Lord of the Heavens Mark said, his friend arrived soon. Wearing blood and blood robes, this man was carrying a demon sword. He looked very young. After coming to this void, his eyes looked at Jian Wushuang for the first time. Blood Tootie is he originally? Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows, already knowing the other party's purpose of finding himself. Jian Wushuang also knew this Emperor of Blood. When he has not risen, and has not been recognized as the strongest of the rulers of this star power. The strongest rule of this star field is this Blood Emperor. The blood-slaying Emperor's combat power is very terrible. He once defeated 3 of the most powerful of the 6 realms, and that was many years ago. Over the past hundreds of thousands of years, the Blood Tootie has rarely shot, and no one knows which step his combat power has reached, but it is certain that it is definitely stronger than before. In addition, the blood slaughter of the Emperor is also very famous in this star field. Master of the Blood Sword, hello for the first time. Blood Tootie stared at Jian Wushuang, but at the beginning he greeted him very politely. Blood Tootie, long known name. Jian Wushuang also smiled. I want Tianqian to come forward, and I want you to wait for me here. I know. Jian Wushuang nodded. If I'm not mistaken, you want to see me so urgently. Should you want to fight with me? Yes. The Emperor Shuata didn't hide anything. I have seen the mirror image of you fighting with the 5 extremes of the 6 realms, including the Emperor Bloodknife. Your strength is indeed very strong. Even me, right? You do and have much confidence in it. And I also know that your cultivation time is very short. Now that tens of thousands of years have passed since that battle, you should be stronger. Although I know your current strength is above me, I still want to play against you. The Blood Tootie licked his lips. and his eyes were filled with terrifying warfare. I can understand. Jian Wushuang smiled. It is normal to know that the opponent is stronger than himself and still want to challenge. Many people in this world are like this. Even Jian Wushuang himself, when he meets a strong player of the same level who is stronger than his own, knows that he is not the opponent, but he still has the urge to fight against each other. Do you fight directly now? Jian Wushuang asked. Of course, it was very difficult to meet you in this red cloud world. The opportunity is rare. Of course, we must grasp it. Blood Tooty arrived. Then you can shoot it. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly with a light look. With this appearance, Su Tooty's eyes narrowed slightly, and his heart was a little dissatisfied. Although he admitted from the beginning that Jian Wushuang was stronger than himself, he could not be better. He gave the other party enough respect. However, Jian Wushuang now looks like he hasn't thought of him at all. Of course, there was some dissatisfaction with the Blood Tooty. That being the case, then you are careful. Emperor Shueta did not struggle with Jian Wushuang's behavior, but chose to shoot directly and speak with strength. Ha! The cold mang flashed, and the blood-colored demon sword behind Emperor Shueta had directly sheathed. This sword was extremely cold and extremely powerful. Amazingly a pinnacle sword. Master of the blood sword, draw your sword. No need for now. Jian Wushuang shook his head slightly. Crazy. Blood Tooty immediately became furious. A majestic force burst out suddenly. He held the sword in both hands at the same time. Wow! The sword was cut out, and in a short time a mighty blood-colored sword swept out. The knife light is extremely dazzling, spreading out in the void, like a dazzling sword river. Scarlet Sword Hanoi has a suffocating Mori cold breath. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, and at the moment when the Scarlet Sword River swept in front of him, he changed his hand and raised his head towards the void. This seems to be an understatement. But immediately there is a sword intended to gather in front of him. The sword spread out, as if a lotus bloomed. Under the impact of the sword, the blood-colored sword river collapsed instantly, and countless divine powers swept wildly around, creating a great deal of movement in this world. It was so simple that it broke my sword. Blood Tooty was surprised. The blade just now, although it is not his strongest blade, but it is also the blade created by him, that can be ranked in the top 3. In addition, he broke out with all his strength, exploding his own power to the extreme. You know, he is a special life. A special life, after reaching the extreme of the 6 realms. Its outbreak of divine power far exceeds the master of the general rules. Even if compared with the master, it is not much worse. But despite this, Jian Wushuang just underplayed and broke his sword. The Lord of the Blood Sword, it seems that I still despise you. Not only does your understanding of Kendo far exceed the rules of the general rules, even if it is in divine power, you are afraid that I do not need to be weak. Blood slaughter, you still have to show your strongest means with the sword, otherwise there will be no chance. Jian Wushuang smiled. As you wish. The Blood Tooty was not hesitant, only to see the layers of divine power burst wildly on his body, and a breath of divine power, far beyond the rules master, burst out from him. The Blood Slaughter Emperor is a special life, and the divine power is extremely powerful. And now he has performed an extremely powerful mystery that can increase his divine power in a short time. This mystery was obtained only after he spent a lot of energy and price in the deepest part of Red Rock Mountain, which is enough to make his strength reach a whole new level in a short time. With this secret technique and his own special constitution, he even dared to slam against the dominant powerhouse for a certain period of time. Humph! A cold hum. The air burst at the feet of Blood Tooty. His body looks like a teleportation, appearing directly in front of Jian Wushuang. And the demon sword in his hand is like a real demon flashing out one after another. Wow! 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 The icy lights were extremely cold, incredibly fast, and the overwhelming assassination swords were cut off. A horrible downturn directly oppressed Jian Wushuang. Facing this overwhelming offensive, Jian Wushuang still looked very relaxed. He carried one hand behind him and the other, even the sword, and cast it out at will. It seems that every sword is very casual, But among the swordsmanships he is carrying, there is a trace of the origin of the universe of Kendo, and he fights directly with the sword light from the Emperor Tutu. Remember the first domain name in this book. Jiotian God Emperor Mobile Version Reading URL. Chapter 3720? Second More. With the sound of intensive clashes, the dense sword light cast by the blood tutti was resisted by the sword unparalleled. Great! I have all performed the strongest mystery, and the divine power that erupted at this moment is no less than the ordinary master. But he can still resist my sword light so easily. Blood Tutti's eyes flashed with a strong excitement. The next moment he stopped hiding. The Lord of the Blood Sword, pick me the strongest sword. As soon as the words came down, he saw the blood tutti's figure abruptly retreat, and in the middle of his abrupt retreat, the demon sword stabbed sharply. Voila! The endless scarlet sword light burst out suddenly. Each of these blood-colored knife lights is like a crooked blood-colored moon, and there are hundreds of thousands of blood-colored knife lights, like a huge ocean of knife lights, covering the sky and the sun. For a time, the whole world was covered by this scarlet sea of light, and at the very center of this scarlet sea of light, a breath enough to tremble the rulers of countless rules suddenly rose. I saw the end of the front, a cold blood swept straight. This blood light, extremely dazzling. At the moment when it was lit, the whole blood-colored knife light ocean around it seemed to have lost its color. The whole world seemed to be completely dark, and in this immense darkness, there was only this blood. It is the focus of heaven and earth, and the only color between heaven and earth. This knife is not bad. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly. He still did not pull out the sword, still with his fingers into a sword. When the blood was rushing at him, his right hand's fingers also stretched out straight, like a sharp sword, piercing the void in front. This sword, Jian Wushuang has not yet performed swordplay. It is still just a simple straight piercing. But the sword has no hands in the middle and up, but it is permeated with an extremely rich source of Kendo universe. Suddenly, everything around him disappeared. The blood-colored sword light ocean had completely dissipated, and the blood light that had previously been the only color in the heavens and the earth immediately dimmed, and even nearly dissipated. The sword Wushuang's finger had never entrained any power, but it was already on the chest of the blood tutti. You lost, Jian Wushuang said lightly. How is this possible? Emperor Shui Tu still stood there, looking at the finger on his chest and sword, but his eyes were rounded, and his mind was blank at the moment. He completely choked off. He never imagined that he was proud of the strongest sword. This sword is already a master-level extinction. In addition, after performing mysterious surgery, he has a short period of divine power comparable to the master. At this moment, his combat power should be infinitely close to the master. But this is the sword. The result is still directly defeated by Jian Wushuang easily. He didn't pull the sword, but just used his fingers to smash his swordsmanship forward, and then clicked on his chest. This feeling is like a giant bullying a weak baby. He could see that Jian Wushuang did not use all his strength from beginning to end. He had always been casual and easy, but even so he easily defeated him. He was completely crushed by Jian Wushuang, and bullied by Jian Wushuang. Aside from the void, the Lord of the Heavens Mark, who had been watching the battle, was stunned. How can it happen? How could he be defeated so badly? Even if the Lord of the Blood Sword is more powerful than Blood Tutti, I don't know that the gap is so big, isn't it? The Lord of the Heavens Mark immediately thought of a possibility, and the Blood Tutti had barely calmed down at this moment. He looked up and took a deep look at Jian Wushuang and asked, Master of the Blood Sword, have you broken into the master? Break through the master? Jian Wushuang stunned, but followed with a smirk. I did not break through the master, but my strength has already surpassed the ordinary primary master. Did not break through the master, but the combat power surpassed the general master? Blood Tutti looked at him with a sigh of relief, and then he sighed helplessly. It should already belong to the strongest kind. Even if you are stronger than me, you are definitely not stronger. But as a result, you are too much stronger than me, which is totally two different levels. You do and need to be discouraged. You can reach this step not only because I have many special reasons, but also because I have had some special encounters. As for you, you are indeed the ruler of the rule. It was terrible. Jian Wushuangdo. He said this, not for comforting the blood tutti, but for the latter's strength. At least among the rulers, the strength of this blood slaughter emperor can definitely be recognized by Jian Wushuang. It is a special life in itself, and it also has a powerful mystery of magical power, which can spit out in a short period of time the power of divine power, that is no less than that of ordinary elementary masters. In addition, he has created the mastery level of peerless power. To a certain extent, it is not much weaker than a primary master. No matter what my strength is, I can't compare with you anyway. And this battle with you also made me understand that there is one mountain and one mountain high. In this star field alone, there are far more masters of the rules than me. The existence of the strong, let alone the vast universe. There must be more terrible geniuses and stronger than you. Even stronger than you. I can't wait. After the end of the competition in the Red Cloud Realm, I set off, deep in the universe ahead. Blood Tutti said, "You're going to go deep in the universe?" Jian Wushuang was startled. The Blood 2 Emperor, who was watching the battle in the void, was also shocked. He did not expect that this thought would appear after the battle between Emperor Xuetu and Jian Wushuang. Master of the Blood Sword, thank you for this battle. Emperor Xuetu said. Polite. Jian Wushuang calm. Yes, there is one thing. You are afraid you don't know yet? Sudden Blood Tutti suddenly said. What is it? Jian Wushuang asked. Not long ago, in this third continent, around the ruins of the 17th, a sword stone was born. Emperor Xuetu. Sword stone. Jian Wushuang he is on the third continent himself. And the Xian Shinto man has been collecting intelligence in the Red Cloud Realm through various channels. But he has not heard what kind of sword stone. What's so special about this sword stone? Who got it in the end? Jian Wushuanglian asked. I do know the specific purpose of this sword stone, but I am sure that it is very beneficial to practitioners who understand the sword. And when the sword stone was born, it connected the earth of the Red Cloud Realm. A part of the earth. No one can take it away, so this sword stone should still be there now. If you have time, you can go and see for yourself. Remember the first domain name in this book. Jiotian God Emperor Mobile Version Reading URL. Chapter 3721? The first is here. Emperor Xuetu and Tianhen Lord soon left. But when Emperor Xuetu left, he told Jian Wushuang the existence of the sword stone. Is the sword stone? Jian Wu's eyes narrowed slightly. Since it happened on this third continent, it can't be missed. Jian Wushuang did not hesitate, and went directly to the location of the sword stone. The Red Cloud Realm is very large, with 7 continents. This third continent alone is extremely vast, with billions of miles in radius. Within these billions of miles, there are a large number of building ruins. And these ruins have also been marked by the strong in this star field for easy identification. Ruin number 17 should be located near the center of the third continent, and Jian Wushuang came here soon. After the ruins of the 17th, the power of the sword unparalleled soul spread, and it was easy to find the location of the sword stone. That's the sword stone. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. In his soul perception, there is indeed a huge bloodstone. At first glance, the bloodstone is no different from the ordinary stones in the Red Cloud Realm. But at this moment there are many rulers who are gathering there. Most people are still enlightening under the bloodstone. Jian Wushuang also quickly came to the bloodstone. And when he really came here, both sides of the sword saw the strangeness of the bloodstone. The material is exactly the same as that of ordinary bloodstone, except that in the center of this sword stone, there are 4 big gold characters. Feng Xiao Xiao. Looking at the 4 bronzing texts in the middle of the sword stone, an ancient and ethereal breath came in an instant. For a moment, even Jian Wushuang was involuntarily affected by these 4 golden characters, and the whole person's consciousness became empty and misty. What a terrible mood. Even I was affected involuntarily? Jian Wushuang awakened instantly, but his heart took a breath. He stared closely at the 4 golden words on the sword stone, each of which contained a unique mood. As his mind sank in an instant, the rumbling. This sword stone in front of the sword was completely changed. The 4 golden characters on the sword stone are no longer ordinary characters. These 4 golden characters seemed to come alive. The golden text evolved in Jian Wushuang's mind, and in the blink of an eye it turned into 4 amazing sword skills. Jian Wushuang's eyes widened. He was completely stunned by the sword skill transformed from the 4 golden characters in front of him. Too strong, too terrible. The artistic conception brought by that sword art alone makes the fear that Jian Wushuang feel. There is no doubt that any of these 4 swordsmanships can be described as earth-shaking. The person who left the 4 ancient characters of Feng Xiao Shi on this sword stone at first was bound to be a shocking superpower. Jian Wushuang even felt that it was the Supreme who left these 4 words. Only the words left by the Supreme, and above, can be transformed into such terrible swordsmanship. No wonder this bloodstone is called a sword stone. No wonder so many rulers have come to this sword to enlighten. Jian Wushuang was excited inside. He knows that the masters of these rules should be strong men who are good at kendo. They have some accomplishments in kendo, but I am afraid there is not even one person who understands the origin of kendo universe. Without understanding the origin of the kendo universe, even if you come under this sword stone, I am afraid it is difficult to really feel the existence of the 4 swordsmanship. Few things they can feel, but even just a few things such as simple moods are enough for the ruler of these rules to be silent for a long time. But Sword Unparalleled is different. He entered the threshold of the universe of the sword, especially when he was enlightened for 5,000 years under the town monument. He has made great progress on the kendo. Now he sees the 4 ancient golden stones in front of the sword stone. The text, however, is a complete 4 swordsmanship that can be seen from these 4 texts. Any of these 4 swordsmanships is earth-shattering. This is definitely a great opportunity for Jian Wushuang. 3 of the 4 swordsmanships are attacking swordsmanships, but there is one more, which seems to be a defensive bodyguard swordsmanship. The sword Wushuang looked. He felt the 4 swords he saw carefully. Of the 4 swordsmanship, 3 are mainly attack and kill, and some are powerful. Some are as fast as phantom ghosts, killing opponents in an instant. But these 3 swordsmanships, no doubt, are all swordsmanship of frontal fighting. There is only the last one, which is the sword art derived from the word shi. That sword art is an endless artistic conception. It gives the sword a unique feeling, and it is a natural sword skill. And this made Jian Wushuang start to groan. The 4 sword arts derived from the golden text on this sword stone are all unpredictable, and the Red Cloud Realm will be closed for at most 10,000 years after opening. In just 10,000 years I will still fight for the treasure. May go to enlighten these 4 swords at the same time. You can only choose one of them, and concentrate on enlightenment. Since you can only choose one of them, you have to think about which one to choose. Jian Wushuang muttered. If there is enough time, or if he can collect the sword stone, and take it away from the Red Cloud Realm, he will naturally not have to worry. When he slowly spends time later, he will learn the 4 swords at the same time. Unfortunately, when he came to the sword stone, he saw that the sword stone and the earth of the Red Cloud Realm were completely integrated, and it was impossible to move or collect the sword stone. And if you shoot directly, divide the sword stone into 2, and take away the part containing 4 golden words, it will not work, because Jian Wushuang found that the 4 golden characters and sword stone have been completely integrated. If the sword stone is damaged, the mood of the 4 golden characters will also be greatly affected. If the sword stone is cut into 2 pieces, these for the artistic conception contained in the golden text is afraid to disappear completely. Jian Wushuang can't feel the existence of sword art from those 4 golden texts. No way, he can only stay here, like the master of these rules present quietly comprehend. Then of the 4 swordsmanships, he can only choose one of them to enlighten him, so that he can make great progress. As for the 4 swords which one to choose, Jian Wushuang hesitated for a moment, and then he had made a decision. 3 of the 4 swordsmanships are attacking and killing swordsmanship, but there is only one body defending swordsmanship. Obviously, defending swordsmanship is far more rare than attacking and killing swordsmanship. Jian Wushuang understands that defending swordsmanship is indeed much rarer than ordinary attack and kill swords. Remember the first domain name in this book. Jiutian God Emperor Mobile Version Reading URL. Chapter 3722? Second more. In addition, what I am best at now is attacking and killing swordsmanship. As for the defensive swordsmanship of body protection, although I created a swordsmanship, that swordsmanship is not perfect, and the level is still very low. A slightly stronger master, I'm afraid it's easy enough to defeat my defense sword. And now that I have such a good opportunity in front of me, I can't miss it. Just take a look at this body defense swordplay, and then perfect the body protection swordplay I created. Jian Wu's eyes flashed with light, and he had already made up his mind. Immediately, Jian Wushuang also found a forward position under the sword stone, sat down, and then closed his eyes and fell into the enlightenment. What he learned was the word 11 among the 4 golden words on the sword stone. As for the rulers next to them, when Jian Wushuang arrived, they were aware of it, but they were not panicked. After all, the opportunity in this sword stone is not the same as the precious treasures that were born before. The treasure was born, and only one person could get it. The competition was naturally fierce. But the opportunity in this sword stone can be obtained as long as you come here, because no one can collect the sword stone. So no matter who comes here, as long as it does not prevent everyone from enlightenment, or if someone tries to destroy the sword stone, no one will take the shot. Everyone has his own skills. In front of the sword, everything seemed very peaceful. Because it was not long after the sword stone was born, not many people knew it at the beginning, like Jian Wushuang, but also learned the existence of the sword stone from the mouth of the blood slaughter emperor. But the Xian Shinto man did not pass it to him. But as time passed, more and more people knew. And naturally there were more masters of rules that came to understand before coming to this sword stone. You know, there are a lot of scary masters of this rule of the stars. And of these rule masters, there are naturally a lot of strong men who are good at kendo. Now in this third continent, it is only estimated that they came before this sword and stone. The entire star domain is good at a small part of the Lord of Kendo rules. But there are hundreds of people in this small part. Hundreds of people are enlightened under the sword stone at the same time. It is inevitable that some people will compete for the shot because of the distance with the sword stone. Those rulers who want to enlighten under the sword stone certainly want to find a closer to the sword stone's position. However, no matter how they frantically compete for a better position of enlightenment, no one will come to disturb Jian Wushuang's enlightenment. He sat just below the sword stone, closest to the sword stone, but no one dared to come forward and change positions with him. Continuous, endless. This mood is like a life and death not of the rules of reincarnation, but I feel that the rules contained in this sword art are far more than the rules of reincarnation, but also the rules of the earth. Water. There are 7 or 8 rules of rule, light, and darkness. Jian Wushuang was completely silent in the enlightenment of that bodyguard swordsmanship. With enlightenment, his heart became even more shocked. Shocked the strength of the strong who left the 4 swordsmanship at first. The text left behind, the sword art of evolution, contains 7 or 8 kinds of rules at the same time, and they all blend together perfectly. And this is just one sword art. The other 3 sword arts also contain a variety of rules, and they are all integrated. In other words, what was the concept of the strong man, who had at least mastered and integrated more than a dozen rules? Perhaps that strong man has learned the origin of the universe, and has a very high understanding of the origin of the universe. So many of them are straightforward in the rules. But for me, the rules contained in this sword art can be ignored. I want to understand, and even master this artistic concept in this sword art, and then perfect my land. Guardian's trick. Jian Wushuang thought secretly. The guardian of the earth is the sword Wushuang, who has been enlightened for 5,000 years in front of Zhenshengbai. Combined with the name of the type of bodyguard sword art created by the rules of the earth, this sword art is still in its infancy, and it is far from perfect. The perception of the earth's rules is actually not very high. But now Jian Shuangshuang has a feeling. The sword art that he is now enlightening, the endless artistic conception contained in it, as long as he can understand a little, and then integrate into his sword art, the guardianship of the earth is much stronger. Endless, this mood, Jian Wushuang has been in contact for a long time, and also realized. But his understanding of this artistic conception is not too high. At least he is far worse than the one who left 4 ancient characters on the sword stone. He only has to constantly enlighten, and then constantly improve. In the Red Cloud realm, the mad scramble continues. One by one, the universe is treasured. It has been born among the continents of the Red Cloud realm. Numerous strong men have been madly killed for it. Naturally, many strong men have fallen because of this. But these, for now, have nothing to do with Jian Wushuang. He stayed under this sword stone, completely silent in the enlightenment of the bodyguard sword art, and he had already messaged them to the Lord of the Heavens and the Lord of Time and Space. If there was no urgent matter, or the strongest treasure was born, don't come to disturb him. Now he is full of his own guard of the earth trick. In a flash, Jian Wushuang has been enlightened under the sword stone for 400 years. In these 400 years, many great events have occurred in the Red Cloud realm. The biggest one of which is the first continent, the birth of the strongest treasure. The strongest treasure is enough to allow many masters to furiously fight for it. In the 10,000 years of the Red Cloud world, there will definitely be the strongest treasure to be born. And there will be more than one. Everyone has a bottom in this heart, but when the first strongest treasure was born, it still caused a storm. Countless strong men participated in this competition. Even the masters, there were 3 of them. These 3 masters also fought a crazy battle. And finally was one of the strongest advanced master won the strongest treasure, and left. In that battle, although the master did not fall, there were nearly 100 rulers who could fall. The scene was scary. However, because the first continent is a certain distance from the third continent, where Jian Wushuang is located, it is farther away from the location of the Lord of Time and Space, and the Lord of the Heavens. So the 3 of them are too late to participate in the fight. And Jian Wushuang has always been there under the sword stone as enlightened. And during these 400 years of enlightenment, Jian Wushuang's progress is naturally very great. Remember the first domain name in this book. Jiutian God Emperor Mobile Version Reading URL. Chapter 3723? The first is here. The sword art in this sword stone is really incredible. I have been enlightened for 400 years, and in terms of rules alone, I have made great progress. I have almost completely mastered the rules of the earth. And in swordplay, I have created a trick to protect the earth. In the past 400 years, I have continuously improved it, which is far more powerful than before. Now if my trick is unfolded, I am afraid that it is an ordinary master. The law is broken. As for the higher master, it is difficult to say whether it can be broken, but obviously there is still a lot of room for improvement in this trick, and I can continue to improve it. Jian Wushuang was extremely excited inside. With 400 years of enlightenment, he is even more anticipating the protection of the earth he created. He was very curious. If he had been enlightened in this way and perfected the protection of the earth trick, then what extent would this trick reach? But just then, Lord of the Blood Sword, save your life, come and save me. One of the orders in the sword warrior's Qingquan ring sent an extremely anxious cry for help. Sword Wushuang looked and took out the order. Master of Guqi, what's going on? Jian Wushuanglian asked. It's the pupil. The idiot's master at the other end of Lingfu said. Just now I got a top-class domain treasure in a fight, and it's all already in hand, and the fight is over. However, when I was about to leave, the pupil came here and asked me to hand over the top-class domain treasure. I refused, and Hitomi shot directly at me. Now I can only rely on my whole cards to save my life. I can use Hitomi's strength to break my ranks sooner or later. I see. The sword-free color became dignified. The Star Palace, and the three major free alliances, have entered the Red Cloud realm this time. These strong are scattered among 7 continents. Among them, the 3rd continent, the 4th continent, and the 6th continent have the existence of 3 swordsmen himself, the Lord of the Heavens, and the Lord of Time and Space. So they have long explained that if there is an emergency in these 3 continents, they can be directly contacted. Now the master of the idiot encounters the pupil of the pupil, is in deep crisis, and naturally sends a message to himself. The Lord of the Gucci is one of the top powerhouses in the Star Palace. He has the ultimate strength of the 6 realms, and has a very strong life-saving ability. His strongest hole card is a net fire method. Among the rule masters are me and blood. 2D, no one can break open, but he is now encountering the pupil of the pupil. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed. Mr. Hitomi, it is a real master-level powerhouse, and it has a long time to become famous. Although it is only a primary master, but the strength is very strong among the primary masters. It is no wonder that the idiot master will ask for help. Already. In fact, under normal circumstances, the dignified dominion will almost never lower his status to deal with the ruler, unless it is of great interest, or there is a treasure in the opponent's eyes. However, the master of the idiot is only a top-level field treasure. Even if it is the best, the value at best is barely equivalent to a peak treasure. For such a treasure, most of them dominate. He will not choose to reduce his status to the ruler. But this pupil is definitely one of the few who do not care about identity in this star field. Hitomi, in this star field, is notorious. He was a lone strong man, without concern or concern, even a disciple, so he never cared about the opinions of others, only knowing that he was his own way, and naturally, he never cared about his identity. As long as he was the treasure, he liked not to mention the ruler. Even if he is an undead sage, he doesn't mind shooting directly to snatch. Like now, the master of the idiot gets that top-level domain treasure, which may not be enough to make the master of the idiot really heart, but such a treasure is of great value. Even the master will not ignore it, so he will now direct shot. Master of the idiot, pass me your current position. Jian Wushuangdo. The master of the idiot immediately passed his position to Jian Wushuang. After comparing Jian Wushuang on the star map, he immediately made a decision. I'm more than 50 million miles away from your location. It's such a long distance that even if I try my best to get on the road, it will take a while to reach you. Lord of the idiots, you first use your net fire method as much as possible. First dragged the pupil, waiting for me to come. However, before your arrival, your net fire array has reached its limit and can no longer support it. Then you will give him the top field class arcana. A top field class arcana. If you can't do it, let it go. Don't lose your life for this. Jian Wushuang urged. Yes, I will try my best to drag it. The idiot gritted his teeth. Without any delay, Jian Wushuang left for the position of the master of the idiot. Along the way, Jian Wushuang reached his extreme speed. No way. This time he was not trying to fight for the treasure, but to save his life. For him, a top-class domain treasure is actually nothing, but the life of the ancient idiot is different. Star Palace. Although there are many powerful men in His Majesty, there are not many masters who truly reach the rule of level 6 and above. As for the ultimate level of 6 realms, only 2 masters are considered to be idiots. Naturally, the 2 extreme powers of the 6 realms are of great importance to the horoscope. If one of them falls, it must be a great loss to the horoscope. The 3rd continent within a vast void. Boom boom. Endless pure white flames are burning frantically, covering thousands of miles of void around. This tens of thousands of miles of void are completely caught in the sea of pure white fire. And in the middle of the sea of fire, hey! Ha! Ha! A fierce roar rang continuously, shaking the world. Ha ha! I think I'm underestimated you. This your flame method is quite strange. Even this seat can hardly be broken. Echoes echoed between the heavens and the earth, and there was a towering blood-colored figure, standing in the middle of the pure white sea of fire. This figure was filled with a thick cloud of blood. The cloud of blood was rolling. The endless killing breath spread out. This figure is the pupil of the pupil. And not far in front of the pupil, in the very center of the pure white sea of fire, the guts of the idiot clenched his teeth tightly, looking rather ugly. Master Tong, I have sent a message to my house master. The house master and the space and time house master will arrive here immediately. If you are smart, then leave quickly, or wait for my house master to arrive. The idiot whispered. Remember the first domain name in this book. Jiotian God Emperor Mobile Version Reading URL. Chapter 3724? Second more. Haha, the master of your house. The pupil is the one who looks at the idiot with a playful expression. Boy, do and think that this seat has always been alone, without concern. You think that this seat has no knowledge of this star domain information. This seat, it is clear that this time the Red Cloud Realm was born. Your lord of the palace did not come to the Red Cloud Realm at all. As for what you said at that time, the Emperor of the Palace of Heaven was now on the 4th continent. How can I get here? Don't say they can't be here at all. Even if they did, what can they do? My pupils have been in this star field for so many years. I am not even afraid of the higher masters. Will I care about the 2 primary masters of the main palace master? The master of space and time? Really a joke? Boy, I advise you not to struggle anymore. Honestly, give the top-class treasure, and the magic circle that you are currently performing, to this seat. This seat may spare you a life, otherwise, wait, this seat breaks this formation, you will die. The words of the pupil make the master of the idiot extremely ugly. He didn't expect this pupil to be so shameless. Not only to deal directly with a rule master for his top field class, but now he sees the net fire law that he uses. But he also needs to hand it over go out. This net fire formation is his strongest hole card, and his strongest support. This law formation was fortunately obtained when he was smashing in Quicksand Demon Realm many years ago. After so many years of smashing down, this law formation has saved his life more than once. To him, this method is far more important than that of the top field. Now, the pupil asked him to hand in the law circle together? How can it be? He would rather die than pay. Now, he can only hope that the Lord of the Blood Sword will arrive earlier. Although he does not know the true strength of Jian Wushuang, from the position of Jian Wushuang in the Shinggong, and the attitude of Xian Shinto, the master of space and time to him, Jian Wushuang is even a little bit worse than the master. Not too much. As long as he arrives and joins hands with himself, it should be possible to block the pupil. Stubbornness. Since you don't pay, let's die. The pupil's voice was cold, the blood cloud of horror rolled, and he blasted away with shocking power toward the pure white sea of fire. The master of the idiot can only rely on this magic array to barely resist, but with the real strength of the pupil, when the eruption started, his pressure naturally increased. As time passed, he became more and more difficult to resist, and the net fire array gradually reached the limit it could bear. Damn, the Lord of the Blood Swords, why not come? The face of the idiot's master has been completely twisted. He has now realized that the net of fire is somewhat unsustainable. He can only grit his teeth to continue to resist this, and his heart is praying that Jian Wushuang can come here earlier. However, with a distance of 50 million miles, even if Jian Wushuang rushed at full speed, it would take some time. In the void around this pure white sea of fire, there are many rulers gathered here. Many of these rulers were involved in the previous top-class scramble for the top class, and some were aware of the huge movements here that came here. The masters of these rules stood in the void around the net of fire, and watched the scene ahead. When seeing the master of the idiot being pushed to the limit by Hitomi, many rule masters secretly booed. This idiot's own master is very powerful, and he has a life-saving hole card of the net fire magic array. According to the reason, it is only possible to meet the master, which can almost go sideways, but he didn't expect his luck to be so bad. I met a master who is also a pupil who has no regard for identity. This idiot's master is indeed unlucky. We have a clear idea of Hitomi's temper, but everyone who has followed him has a headache. No way, unless the master of the idiot handed over the top-level domain and his net of fire. He was afraid he would die. The top-class field is okay. Anyway, he just got it. When he is out of luck, he just handed it over. The problem is that the pupil is still interested in his net fire method. Everyone knows this net fire method. The battlefield is the strongest hole card of the Gucci Lord. Would the Gucci Lord surrender such a treasure? That's right, if I were, I wouldn't pay. There are still many rulers. Most of them are sympathetic to the guilty lord, and feel that the guilty lord is unlucky. With the passage of time, those who watched the battle around could clearly feel the lord of the Gucci, and could no longer support it. At this time, the sword is unparalleled. There is still more than 20 million miles away from this void, and it will take a while to arrive. Haha boy, you can't hold it. The wanton laughter resounded in this world, rumbling. The world shook and the endless power burst out, smashing the pure white flames that covered the thousands of miles on the battlefield. The flames were finally carried. Can't stop the impact of that terrible power, and it dissipates directly. The master of the idiot's net fire was defeated by the pupil. Without the hindrance of the net fire method, the strength of the idiot master could not face the pupil. Knowing this, many people around sighed, sighing. Even the master of the idiot smiled horribly, with a hint of despair in his eyes. But when the pupil master was about to slay the ancient idiot master in front of him, a figure did not know when he came to this perimeter of the void. Here it's quite lively. A bit of fun and low laughter sounded in this world. This low laughter caught everyone's attention. Even the pupil, who was about to make a shot, stopped his movements and looked at the person. After seeing clearly the appearance of the person, Hitomi could not help but frown. The comer was a weird old man with a scarlet cape. The old man had a lean face, a hooked nose and small eyes, as if the eyes of a mouse, and he was slightly squinting, giving a very shrewd look. He smiled, and even made him feel a bit more wicked. The smell of this weird old man is actually not strong. It is obviously only the level of the ruler. But the same rule Master Hitomi did not put the idiot master in his eyes at all. But when he saw this strange old man, Hitomi's brow frowned slightly. Ming Bone. It's a bone. Among the many rulers of this star domain, he is said to have the most means and the strongest life-saving ability. It turned out to be him? The masters of many rules around the battlefield, after seeing this weird old man, also showed surprise. Remember the first domain name in this book. Jiotian God Emperor Mobile Version Reading URL. Chapter 3725? The first is here. Wicked Bone Monster. In this star field, fame is too great. In the eyes of many powerful people in this star field. If you want to choose the ruler with the strongest strength, it is undoubtedly decided between the Lord of the Blood Sword and the Blood Tootie. But to say that the owner of the most difficult rule, I'm afraid that 99% of people will think of this wicked old man the first time. This wicked bone monster is famous for its many means, and is extremely difficult to entangle. He had faced the dominating powerhouse more than once, and even directly faced the high-ranking dominator. The opponent showed his best, but still had nothing to do with him. He even dares to directly calculate the master in this star field, and therefore he has offended many masters, but so far he still lives well. Such a person, even if it is only a ruler, even the pupil at this moment, dare not ignore his existence directly. Mingu, what are you doing here? The pupil didn't rush to start but turned to ask. The old man just happened to pass here, just to see that you, the supreme master, shot against a ruler regardless of his identity. So he came here to take a look. The bone old man laughed. Just a look. Hitomi's voice was low. I wanted to see it. But after seeing that the person you are dealing with is the master of this idiot, the old man changed his mind again. Mingu, old strange. What do you mean? Hitomi looked pale. This idiot doesn't have much relationship with the old man, but the old man's friendship with the Shingong is not bad. So I can only let the pupil to sell the old man a face. The bone strange smiled. As soon as this word came out, all the people around him were stunned, and even the idiot master himself was extremely surprised. The guilty old man said this, apparently intending to intervene in this matter. Mingu, do you want to sell your face in this seat? You are not the ruler of the rules. Why? Do you want to sell face in this seat? Tongzhu sighed. Well, Master Tong, since you don't sell face, let's see if you can kill the old idiot under the old man's eyelids. The bone monster smiled at will, but in the laughter, with an absolute confidence. Hitomi's main gaze was slightly narrowed. The whole world was silent. But suddenly, oh! The streamer flashed, and the pupil was already shooting like lightning. The terrifying mastery breath instantly covered and oppressed the master of the idiot, and his speed burst to the extreme. Obviously, he intends to ride the ghost and the ghost to the extreme. Then he will kill the idiot master as fast as possible. But at the moment Hitomi took the initiative, the skeletal figure standing on the edge also suddenly moved. He just shook it briefly, but it felt as if it was teleporting, passing directly through the battlefield. Before the pupil had appeared in front of the master of the ancient idiot, the wicked figure of the skeletal body blocked in front of him first. Court death. Hitomi's face was cold, and his intentions skyrocketed. I saw him holding a red stick with one hand. This stick exuded a very strong sense of destruction, and smashed directly towards the ghost bone monster. The ghostly old man saw this without fear. He waved his hand, and saw a cold knife, as if it was a world-breaking, straight cut out. After the two collided head-to-head. After all, the pupil was a powerful player with a domineering level, and the power was still far stronger than that of the ghostly bone. The first time this collision broke the blade of light, even with the ghostly bone blamed the whole figure back a few steps. Well, it is worthy of being the master. After the ghostly man stood still, he still had a smile on his face, and his breath was not weakened. Mingu, since you are going to make this trip to muddy water, then you will die with the master of the idiot. Hitomi's killing intention skyrocketed. Do you still want to kill the old man? Mingwa laughed with a chuckle. It is not the old man who is arrogant. In this star domain, no one can kill the old man except the top masters. As soon as the voice fell, I saw the ghostly figure of the ghostly bone swaying. In time, there were hundreds of thousands of ghostly figures in the void. Hundreds of thousands of guy bone old monsters are exactly the same in both their demeanor and sentiment. The masters of the many rules watching the battle, covered with the power of the soul for the first time, but couldn't see which one was the true deity of the ghost. Is it a phantom? It's a little trick. Hitomi snorted coldly and waved his sleeve robe. Immediately, there was a majestic divine power condensing in front of him, turning into a spiky divine power, and he shot in all directions in no time. These divine powers are thorny and dense, and they pass through hundreds of thousands of skull-bone monsters, but there is no slight wave. What? Hitomi's face changed. Isn't his deity in these figures? Instead he performed hideous techniques. No, if he had performed the concealment technique of concealment, he should not have concealed the power of my soul to detect it. Hitomi stared. The concealed body technique can avoid the exploration of the soul's power. Like the sword Wuxia, he has practiced the Wuxia technique from the beginning. However, this technique is okay in the face of the general strong. But if you face the real strong, the other party can see through at a glance. And the pupil master, the mighty master class master, a rule master who has performed the concealment of the body form, cannot hide him. In this case, that is to say that the deity of the ghostly bone is indeed among these hundreds of thousands of statures, but he can't find it and can't attack it. Even if I can't find your deity, my target is not you. Hitomi hummed slightly, followed the figure, and chose to ignore the ghosts and continue to kill the idiot. But his figure just moved. It was said that under the eyelids of the old man, you can't kill this idiot's master, you believe it. With a bit of ridiculous voice suddenly ringing next to Hitomi's body, I saw a bone monster figure closest to Hitomi's body, directly waving his sword. The sword immediately cut a horse in the void, and swept straight towards Hitomi's head. Hitomi's figure had to retreat immediately, and return to the place where he stood before. Looking again at the surrounding hundreds of thousands of gull bone monsters, the pupil's complexion has become very ugly. After a brief fight, although the ghostly bones only exposed some of the means, this part of the means has already made Tongzhu very difficult. Just as the old-fashioned ghost Bones himself said, without his consent, the pupil of the pupil could not have killed the idiot under his eyelids. Genius, remember the address of this site in a second. Mobile reading URL, M. Chapter 3726. Second more. Strange Bones, do you really want to oppose this seat? Hitomi screamed sharply. I'm against you? The ghostly moan deliberately groaned for a moment before he said, in fact, the old man does not have to stop you. Huh? Hitomi looked. The idiot master not far from the void behind the bonbons was frightened. Master Tong, you may not know yet. My husband has been in this red cloud world for some time. But luck is not very good. But so far I have only got 2 treasures. And they are only primary treasures. This is really not a good harvest. Wegu said strangely. The pupil's main eyes and his pupils narrowed. He glanced at the ghostly bone. And said lowly. What are you going to do? Let's talk straight. It's very simple. A top-level treasure armor. The old man will no longer care about it. The bone monster laughed. As soon as this word came out, there was a commotion in the surrounding void. This wicked bone, he really dares to greet the pupil, and ask for the treasure from the pupil. Among the masters of the rules, I am afraid that he would dare to do this alone. This is also normal. The ghost bone monster is famous for its many means and strong life-saving ability. It is even more difficult to entangle it. If he is unwilling to give way, the pupil of the pupil really has no way to take that ancient idiot. The bone old man has lived for so many years, and there are many offending masters. He doesn't even care about the high master. And how can he care about a pupil in this area? I have to say that a ruler dares to ask for the treasure directly from the master. And this wicked bone monster is indeed admirable. Many of the rulers around have a trace of excitement and admiration in their hearts. It must be noted that the ruler and master of rules is a huge watershed. The masters are high, and the ruler is in front of the master, but the ants, the masters of many rules in this star field, have long been accustomed to the supremacy of the masters. But today they saw a master who eats in the hands of the master of the rules. Of course, the masters of these rules feel relieved and comfortable. At that moment, the pupil was extremely gloomy. Although sometimes he didn't pay attention to his identity and disregard his face. But a master was stunned by a rule. When so many people were asked for the treasure, he was still more or less I feel uncomfortable on my face. He stared at the ghostly ghost, but he hesitated. Face or something is not important, the key is interest. It's nothing more precious than a top-level arcana warframe. The top-level domain arcana that the idiot lord just got is comparable to 2 or even 3 top-level arcana warframes. And his net of fire. Quite mysterious. I am afraid that the value is higher than the average peak treasure. If I kill him, I can get more benefits than a top treasure. The most important thing is, there is something in the idiot lord that makes me long for that treasure. Master Tong narrowed his eyes slightly, and Yu Guang inadvertently glanced at the idiot master behind him. Everyone thought that he would kill the Gucci Lord regardless of his status, just to get the top field class treasure of the Gucci Lord just in hand, and the net fire magic circle. In fact, it's not that simple. This pupil has a very special treasure on his body. The most important reason is that there is something that the special treasure desires on the Lord of the Gucci. Anyway, you must kill this idiot master, get his ring command, and as for a top-level treasure, it is nothing. Hitomi had already made a decision at the bottom of his heart, and immediately he waved his hand, a silver armor with exquisite top treasure atmosphere, and rushed directly to the ghost. The ghost bone monster reached out to take over, and after a little consciousness sensed, he nodded slightly. It's worthy to be the master, and he has an extraordinary wealth. This shot is also very generous. Ming Bone, the top arcana warframe has been given to you. Now you can let it go. Hitomi asked Shensheng. Not in a hurry. The bone monster still shook his head. Ming Bone. Hitomi suddenly became furious. Haha, don't be in a hurry before you anger. The old bone ghost smiled. Since you have given the top treasure to the old man, the old man will naturally keep his promise and stop participating in this matter. I haven't anxious to leave. I just want to ask the pupil. You are so reckless of your identity. Even give the old man a top arcane battle armor. But also to kill the Gucci master. Is it really just for the Gucci master which top-tier domain is precious? Well, a single piece of the top-level arcane warframe is naturally not worthy of this seat. But the magic circle that the idiot lord used to hinder me is quite special. This seat is more interesting. Hitomi Main Road. Oh, is that really the case? Mingu looked strangely at Tongju. Otherwise, do you think? Hitomi suppressed the anger in his heart. The ghostly brow frowned, and didn't think about it. In fact, there is nothing to think about. The pupil is not famous for his identity in this star field. He will stare at the master of the idiot. And it is normal to want the treasure in the hand of the master of the idiot. It is not questionable. That being the case, I will let the old man out now. And you can do whatever you want. But although the old man has given up, if you can't kill the idiot in the future, it is no wonder the old man. Bone monsters play with taste. Well, as long as you don't get in the way, this one is going to kill this idiot master. Then no one can stop it. Hitomi hummed. Is that so? Not necessarily. The skeletal grinned, and the strength of his soul had sensed the arrival of a person. The master of the idiot behind the wicked bone monster has also received a message, and his face has a hint of surprise. In the void not far away, a figure had appeared and rushed towards this void at the fastest speed. The guilty monster has just made his appearance, and the pupil has no time to continue to attack the master of the idiot. The figure has come to the center of this void and stands on the side of the master of the idiot. Master of the idiot, are you okay? Jian Wushuang asked. It's all right, fortunately. Mr. Mingu shot in time and blocked the pupil for a while. Otherwise I must have died and could not wait. The Lord of the Blood Sword is here. The idiot said. Jian Wu's eyes swept away, and he saw the old ghost of the ghost bone, and immediately laughed. Senior ghost bone, thank you this time. Where? The old man is just to get a top arcana warframe, but it's not because of you and the faces of your star palace. The bone old man laughed. The people around them were excited again when they saw Jian Wushuang's arrival. Remember the first domain name in this book. Jiutian God Emperor Mobile Version Reading URL. Chapter 3727. The first is here. The Lord of the Blood Sword is the Lord of the Blood Sword of the Star Palace. The Lord of the Blood Sword, but the strongest of the rulers in our star domain. I heard that he was also smashing on this third continent. Now it seems that he should have received a call from the Lord of the Idiots for help. I came here on purpose. The Lord of the Blood Sword is here. It's a good show, but can the Blood Sword Master alone be able to cope with the pupil? It's hard to say that although the Lord of the Blood Sword is very strong and invincible among the Lord of the Rules, he doesn't have the endless means like the ghosts and bones. He just wants him to face a master. The rulers of the many rules watching around are talking about it. The masters of these rules, the impression of Jian Wushuang, still stays more than 10,000 years ago. In the Magic Smoke Valley, Jian Wushuang's own power to defeat the 5 rule masters in the battle. In that battle, although Jian Wushuang showed the invincible strength of the ruler of the rule, compared to the master, it is still 2 different levels. Therefore, most people are full of doubts about whether Jian Wushuang can cope with the pupil. Menbone. Well, revisit the old one later. Let me kill the pupil first. Jian Wushuang laughed aloud. Okay, but this pupil is not weak, you have to be careful. The bone old man smiled lightly. Jian Wushuang is a very relaxed look. As for the pupil, when he saw the sword Wushuang coming, he didn't know why he was stuck there. Yes, he did hold back. The reason for this is that he was not surprised by the sudden arrival of Sword Unparalleled, but because of the state of that special treasure at his moment. I don't know why. When the sword Wushuang arrived and appeared in the void in front of him, the special treasure on him was completely crazy. It was an unprecedented excitement and an unprecedented desire. It was like a wolf that had been hungry for 10 days and 10 nights, and suddenly saw a sheep. The treasure on him was now so hot and crazy What happened? What is there on the Lord of the Blood Sword, which will make my treasure so exciting and crazy? It's crazy. Ever since I got that treasure, I have never seen it so excited and eager. The pupil's gaze became extremely hot instantly, but it was so hot that he soon covered it up. Above the emptiness, the ghostly ghost has let to the emptiness next to it, leaving only the sword master, the idiot master and the pupil master standing there. Jian Wushuang naturally stood with the master of the idiot. The Lord of the Blood Sword, the strength of this pupil is really terrible. It is definitely the strongest among the primary masters. My strongest card net fire team has also been broken by him now. The law is working again, and at his speed, it is difficult for me and Tu to escape directly from him. So, I'm afraid you can only join hands and find a way to deal with him 1 or 2 times, said the idiot. Unable to perform the net fire method, the master of the idiot must not be able to deal with the pupil, but he knows that the Lord of the Blood Sword is very strong, and there must be some vitality for the two to join forces. But after hearing his words, Jian Wushuang waved his hand. Master of the idiot, please step back, this pupil, just leave it to me. Leave it to you alone? The Lord of the idiot stumbled. I am enough. Jian Wushuang was very confident. Get back. The idiot's gaze was slightly fixed. He glanced at Jian Wushuang and did not think much, but swept away in the void behind him. Seeing this, Hitomi didn't mean to stop at all. After Jian Wushuang came to this void, Master Tong now only saw Jian Wushuang in his eyes. As for the idiot master, he didn't care. Even if the master of the idiot turned and fled now, he would not chase again. For him, sword unparalleled is the first goal now. The Lord of the Blood Sword, the strongest ruler in this field of universally recognized rules. Master Hitomi grinned. He glanced at the idiot lord in the back, and his face smiled even more. It's time to deal with this seat, It's really arrogant. Arrogance. Jian Wushuang only smiled slightly, but there was a hint of excitement in his heart. No wonder he was excited. You must know that since he broke through the rules of the rule and his strength sword, he has never really competed fairly with the dominant power. Although he played against Tian Peng's master and Tian Zhu, he even beheaded and killed 3 masters in the early world of God. However, Tian Peng dominated that time. He just passively blocked Tian Peng dominated 3 attacks. Tianzhu, it was just a simple discussion with him, so that he has a basic understanding of his strength. As for the 3 masters that were beheaded in the early divine realm, those 3 masters were restricted by the heavens and could not exert their strength at all. So even now, he has never fought against a master who can burst into full force. Until now, the pupil was standing in front of him. Hitomi, the strength of this star field is an elementary master standing at the top. Jian Wushuang's mind flashed the information of this pupil. The pupil is not only strong, but also has many treasures on his body. It is said that he not only has the strongest treasure warrior, but also has the strongest treasure war armor on him. In addition, his ability to save lives is not weak. Even if he encounters a high master, he cannot be afraid. Such a powerful master for Jian Wushuang is just a suitable opponent. This is the first time I have battled with a dominating powerhouse in the universe battlefield, and there are still so many people watching around. This battle, I took the pupil to stand up. The sword flashed in the eyes of Wushuang, and even when he screamed, Hitomi, hand over 3 peak treasures, and stop doing today's things. Otherwise my blood sword will be chasing you to the end of the earth. This path contains a huge burst of mighty power, and it exploded fiercely between heaven and earth. The void was quiet. Silence. Everyone was silent, with their eyes widened, staring at Jian Wushuang. They just said that the Lord of the Blood Sword and the Lord of the Gucci teamed up. I do indeed know if hope to block that pupil. But who would have thought that the arrival of the Lord of the Blood Swords would instead force Do Tong to surrender 3 peaks to the treasure? Hasn't he figured out the situation on the court? Even the owner of the idiot is extremely confused at this moment, for unknown reasons. Boy, so daring. Hitomi smiled angrily, and her entire face was twisted. He didn't have any other nonsense, so he just shot. Dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.